Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel, and today, as you can see, we're doing something a wee bit different. It's been a while since you've seen this face on the channel, but it is an absolute pleasure for me to have him back on the left-hand side of your screen. I'm sure it's the left-hand side. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Mr. Hamish Carton. Hamish, how are you doing?
I'm going to move me over to the right now in the edit just to
make
really,
me look like a dick,
really
right?
Mess with you. So get in there. I'm good, Ryan. Thanks for having me on.
It's a pleasure. I was delighted to see you when you messaged me last night asking to come on the new channel, because it was something that I meant to get in touch with you about a few weeks ago, but it's been busy. I don't know if you've seen, I ended up getting a new wee gig in the side and all that, so I've been busy, and I've not had the chance to get into messaging you. But I mean, new channel, new beginnings away in the other side of the globe. Tell us about it. This is your moment to promote, to get as many people over, so use your time wisely. Hamish, on you go.
No, I appreciate you having me on. As I say, it's a big help as we try and grow Celtic AM, and yeah, we've just basically started a new channel. So I think some people probably will be wondering why that's the case. Basically, I did explain this in the first video on the channel, by the way. So people, if they want I think 7 or 8 minute version, they can just go and check out that video. The shortened version is that I moved out here to Australia about 6 months ago, and I kind of wanted to move away from the Celtic stuff and get a job out here in the sports industry. Turned out that I wasn't going to get a permanent gig out here due to kind of visa things. They've basically got some sort of a limit on how long you can work in an actual job out here on the visa I'm on. So I then got an offer from the Celtic Way with your good mate Ryan McGinley to do some stuff with them, and really enjoyed getting back into that. And back into the Celtic stuff, but that's late at night for me, so I kind of have the rest of the day to either sit about and watch telly or to actually do something useful.
What a life, eh? What a life! I mean, you must be
know.
loving it. You've got the sunshine outside, and I must.
Doesn't fully pay the bills, though, I'll tell you that. So I have to kind of do something useful in my day. So given I think the success we had on 67 Hail Hail, as my first light just dies there, it's a good sight. I just thought, I'm going to give a channel a go. And 67 Hail Hail was never actually my channel, believe it or not. So I'm basically doing what you've done amazingly over the last 5 years or so. And I'm going down my own route and being my own boss, basically. So that's why I've popped up on a new channel, and you might be scratching your head and going, why is that guy back? But and on a different channel, but that's the story. So there's no drama there at all. It's just the way
you're
things
clearing
have
the
gone.
air.
Clearing
the air.
It's
good though.
Yeah.
It's good because the amount of people who have been in my comment section since you kind of moved on for 67 Hail Hail asking it, and I do streams all the time, people are like, how's Hamish been and what's he up to, and I'm like, well, I don't speak to him every day, so I couldn't tell you, but
we don't
I'm
get
sure
on, do we? This is all
no, we hate each other. No, but it's good to have you back, and obviously if you're watching this over here in Rhyme Money, I'll urge you to go over and subscribe to Hamish's channel, because you know the effort that the guy puts in, if you watched him over the 67 Hail Hail. So, and I'd imagine that this will be the first of a few times we'll end up being on each other's channel anyway, so you want to be able to keep up with it. And saying that though, Hamish, it's been a long time since we've spoke about Celtic together. I think the last time would have probably been towards the end of last season, probably. I can't remember exactly when it was, but we've won a treble since. We then saw the departure of Ange Postecoglou. Brendan Rodgers has come back to the club, and now we find ourselves in a position where opinion is different with everybody that you ask. So I feel like for the next sort of like 10-15 minutes as we catch up here, we should just have a wee catch up about Celtic in this season, because on your channel we spoke about the Dundee game. I want to make one thing abundantly clear right now for everybody watching this. This video will be uploaded after the Dundee game, so for all we know, things could be worse.
League's over.
Things could be better. We could be thinking to ourselves the league is over by the time that you see this video. So please keep that in mind as you watch this. But yeah, I mean, let's just start with your thoughts on the season so far, and your thoughts on the manager, I suppose, because you asked me in your channel, and I think that we might be in maybe slightly different schools of thought. So, what have you been thinking?
First of all, I just want to say, great result for Kilmarnock. Delighted they were able to win that, and we're back to top of the league. I just think we're going to kick on for here. No, it's been a tough season, hasn't it? It's been Yeah, it's been. I think it was always going to be difficult after the joy we felt in the last couple of seasons. There was always going to be some sort of a hangover, I felt, but I think the hope with getting Brendan Rodgers back in, was that we would kind of negate that, because he was such a big name and he could almost match Ange Postecoglou in terms of the kind of personality. It's not really worked so far. It's been a bit of a drab season. There's been real highs, the 2 derby wins. I think the draw against Atletico Madrid, that's the proudest I've been watching, Celtic in Europe for a number of years. That was a really good night.
Until they go and lose 6-0 a few weeks later.
That's been the whole season, mate. It's been like, one good performance and then not backing it up. There's been so many factors. I mean, the recruitment this season's been a huge issue. I think injuries have been a big issue, and have really made things difficult for us. And I just think there's been a kind of malaise around the club. The good news is we can still save this season. We still have a fighting chance, I think, of winning 2 trophies. And if we manage to win a double this season, it'll be remembered so fondly, and everything that's gone before, won't really matter, to be honest. But generally it's not been as much of a joy to watch Celtic this season. But as I say, there's still trophies there to be won, and I don't know if it's misplaced belief in these players because of what so many of them have achieved before and what the manager's achieved in his first spell. But I still believe we can win 2 trophies this season.
It'll actually be interesting to hear your kind of take on this, because you've been away for 6 months now. So when was the last Celtic game you attended? What month would that have been in?
So it was the Flag Day against Ross County.
So that was your last. Wow. So literally the start of the season. I think one of the biggest criticisms though this campaign has been the kind of joy has been ripped away for a lot of supporters from going to Celtic Park. There's not the same excitement or optimism going to the games. And obviously for you now, you don't get the opportunity to go to the games because you're literally on the other side of the world. So, I mean, what's it been like for you then? When you have to watch these games at whatever time of the day, do you feel that kind of dread? Are you just generally disappointed with how it's unfolded? Like, what's your take on that sort of thing? Because I for one, obviously being the Brendan Rodgers backer that have tried to look at things as optimistically as I can, even in the darkest times. But I suppose if you're not having even the joy of going to a game and soaking in that atmosphere, has it been difficult for you back over in Australia?
Yeah, I mean, the first thing is I really miss it. I don't think anyone watching this who goes to games should take it for granted, because it's amazing going to games and everything around the going to games, meeting people before, meeting people after, talking about it, just being at the ground with all the Celtic fans, your people, as Brendan would probably say, and looking around and loving it. So it's a different experience. Like, it depends what the kick-off times are here. They basically range from like anything from about 11 p.m. To like 7 a.m. and stuff. So some kick-off times you just can't watch the game live. Like Kilmarnock game a couple of weeks ago was a 2 a.m. kick-off. So like I don't really stay up for that. I just get up in the morning, avoid my phone, avoid the scores, and watch it on
as
Celtic
if you're watching
TV.
It live.
Do my best.
I mean,
it's not quite the same, but it's still Celtic, isn't it? And you still... Yeah. I wonder, like, last season, if it would have been different when the team was, like, really exciting to watch.
Because that's what I was going to say, aye, because obviously last year, if you were, like, you felt like there was that factor of unmissable football and unmissable memories, you'd be maybe eager to try and set alarms or whatnot. But this year, we've not really gave fans the reason for that, and I think you can feel that when you're in the stadium. Obviously, like, from my seat and my season ticket, there's a lot of people every week who are just generally fed up, and that's something that needs to change. So talking about that, I mean, let's talk about the manager for a minute here, and this is where you can maybe get your opinions across on Brendan Rodgers and your current state of mind on him. But he has banged on a lot about like kind of creating our own story and not letting other people finish the story for us. He spoke a lot this season, Brendan Rodgers, and maybe not backed it up. So is this now the time between now and the end of the season for Brendan Rodgers to finally show, number one, the manager that he is and the quality that we know he can deliver, and number two, is it just a time for him to maybe prove people wrong? What are you thinking about the manager moving forward?
Yeah, he must be wound up, Brendan Rodgers. Like he must be, because he's a good manager. He's had a really good managerial career. He's managed Liverpool, and he had a good stint at Leicester in the main. Like he's a good manager, who obviously achieved great things before at Celtic. And I know it's maybe not a thing that Celtic fans want to bring up, because it kind of takes away from the previous achievements, which I don't want to at all. But there is no doubt that this time Rangers are that bit stronger. Rangers are real competition for us this time. He must just be looking at that and going, I'm good enough and these players are good enough to shut everyone up and win in this league. And I think that's where a bit of his frustration must have come from recently in the media. He must be thinking, like, why, when I've done so much, are they talking up this Rangers team when we're only a couple of points behind them? And I'm just praying that like he and the players can channel that into us winning this league and just get the blinkers on and really, like we had under Postecoglou a couple of seasons ago, just nobody else matters. Let's just get our stuff together and win this league. So I still think I've written Brendan Rodgers off a few times this season already, and he's kind of proven me wrong. There's been occasions this season when I've thought this is about to head off the tracks here, and we're about to really enter a kind of bad run of form, and he's managed to stabilise things on every occasion. And I'm just praying now that we can really kick on for the end of the season, and he can really show that class that he's got. I know they've got a good manager across the city, probably the best manager they've had.
Absolutely, in a long time.
But Rodgers is still Brendan Rodgers, and he still had Clement's number in that last derby. So surely, he can still be the main man.
Yeah, I mean, you seen it at the end of the Motherwell game with the way the players celebrated towards the away fans, the way that Brendan Rodgers celebrated towards the away fans. I don't know how much of it was captured on Sky. I haven't even got to watch back the highlights, but he was feeling it. He was proper. Yeah. And you know what? Fair play to the away support, because they gave it right back. They celebrated with Rodgers and they loved it. So
it's a weird thing with
the fire's in the belly.
Support. Yeah, because
it feels
they're frustrated. And like we're frustrated when we're not seeing things, but then we get that last minute, and then everyone's like, "Come on, let's win this league." So there's such a kind of, the team are getting our support fully, and I think the support have been amazing, but there's still that frustration there. Imagine if we can just go on a wee run, like
exactly.
Obviously, let's say we're recording this before Dundee, but imagine we can go on a wee run, beat Dundee, win at Tynecastle. Like everyone will really get even more so behind the team.
Yeah, it's just that. It's when I think for most people, it's when you think back to that 10-point swing, isn't it? The fact that we were 8 points clear and now they're 2 clear. I think that for a lot of people as well, the unforgivable side of things start to seep in. And obviously we record this video, and we're probably going to try and wrap it up in the next sort of 5 minutes or so. We record this video right at the end of February, so God knows what we'll be saying at the end of March, when I think there's an international break on. We'll have to kind of judge how we're going into that. But for you, Hamish, dare I ask the question, that at the end of this season, does Brendan Rodgers get a free card? What do you call it again? A get out of jail free card.
Never
That's
played Monopoly, clearly.
No, never. I've not played it in years. Does he get a get out of jail free card if we win this league title, or do you still think that there has to be a vast improvement from now to the end of the season? Because that seems to be all everybody wants to talk about right now, is the future of the manager. A lot of people want to see him walk. A lot of people want to see him get sacked. I feel like I could sit on my chair presenting this video and say there's no chance of him getting sacked. I just don't see it happening. But what do you think from now to the end of the season? What would you say is the kind of the status of his job, depending on how it ends?
I don't even think he's close to being sacked, and I know fans feel
same.
that, and I'd be lying if the game at the weekend, if that thought wasn't crossed my mind and I was going yeah, this clearly isn't working. I think we'll have to lose the league or be very, very close to losing the league for him to even be sacked, and I even think probably while we're in the Scottish Cup, the Celtic board would keep him on. To answer your question, I think if we win the league, you would certainly, stick with Brendan Rodgers and hope that the club could get things together next season. Recruitment could be better and we could really properly plan this. I would certainly have my doubts, but I don't know about you, but I'm not actually that fussed about Brendan Rodgers' future right now. Like, that's kind of my
I think there's
thing.
bigger priorities, isn't there?
Yeah, winning the league has to be the main thing, and everything else can kind of wait for now. Like, I've abandoned all like thoughts of the future of Celtic. I'll be honest, like I've abandoned that because all I care about is winning this league, and then we can kind of deal with all that.
I don't know what your comment section is like, but you get in the constant like, oh, where do we improve in the summer? What positions? I'm like, I have not considered the summer transfer window once since the January
It'll
one
take
closed.
care of itself when it comes.
Yeah. I mean, there has to be. You've kind of alluded to it in what you were saying there. There has to be work done at the club to make things better moving forward. Whether or not Brendan Rodgers was the manager, there has to be work done there. But no, I think you're right in what you're saying. Like the priority has to be just getting this league title won, and you've got to go on a game by game basis. People might say, "Oh, I hope Kelly will do us a turn," or "I hope this happens," and Tynecastle's coming up, but ultimately, you've just got to take it a game at a time at the minute, and I think that's the only way that we have a chance of winning this league title is if we keep our eyes on the prize.
100%. Like, I mean, people say that all the time. Players say, "Oh, we take it game at a time," and you don't really believe what they say, but it has to be game at a time. Like, we are not good enough at the moment to look, more than one game ahead. Mm-hmm. We have a huge game against Hearts at Tynecastle on Sunday, and I've barely thought about it because genuinely, I'm. Again, we're recording this before Dundee, but genuinely that's a game that gives me a bit of the fear because, we have had so many games like Dundee this season that have been a real struggle. So it's game at a time. We've really not got many to go before the end of the season. And it's almost that, like, it's still all in our hands. If we take it game at a time and just keep winning, we don't even need to win both the derbies. We could probably, Rangers are going to drop points.
You've got to hope they do.
Yeah,
anyway, you've got
they
to
will.
hope.
I guarantee it. I mean, they already lost to Kilmarnock last night, so
I love it because if that works out for you, you're going to look like an absolute genius.
Definitely won't.
And I like that.
Definitely won't.
Nah, definitely won't, will it? But on that note, to end it off, I may as well ask you, what's your predictions for Hearts? No, I'm joking. I know that we are recording this, or putting it up, after the Dundee game, but we will focus a game at a time. Hamish, any closing comments before you go? Shout out your channel, anything that you want to mention that I haven't maybe brought up, feel free, take it away.
No, I just would appreciate it if people would give us a wee sub on Celtic AM. We're just trying to grow the channel. If you liked what I did in 67 Hail Hail and what I was part of in 67 Hail Hail, I like to think that Celtic AM will be quite similar. There may be some things we can't do right at this stage, but we'll start it slowly and build it up, and one day we'll be at the level of Ryan 118, I'm sure.
Oh, you're already there, sir. You're already there.
God, this has got a bit weird. No, it's just hopefully Celtic can really find that bit of.
Well, I was going to say hopefully by the end of the season we've caught up again and we can come back and look at this point and we can maybe see get a better update on predicting where things will end. But we'll see what happens in the next few games, because if things continue to go the way that they're going, who knows, I might have chucked it, so we'll need to wait and see. Everybody, thank you for watching. Make sure to head over. The link to Hamish's channel will be in the description of the video, so jump down there, give him a subscribe, check out the videos. I'll be back on the channel, I think, with the podcast this week, hopefully, so check that out when it goes live. But thanks to Hamish, thanks for watching, and we'll see you all next time.